Hello, everyone. Today's a tennis day, table tennis. I think we're expecting a lawn tennis person as well, but for now, I'm sitting in the rim around the table with all table tennis guys. So welcome to Romancing Grenada, Caracol, and PC Martinique. This is a show where we try to bring back those good feelings, that romantic feelings, those goosebumps and all those things we got when these people here were champions or just players. Once they brought the arena to us. And in those days, we didn't have TV. So helping me host the show would be my sister, Shermy and Louis Balfour, and my dear friend, Coach Ian Ferguson. I would let Coach Ian Ferguson introduce the rest of the panel. So Ian, you're wearing a mask. What's going on?
Yeah, I have a question for all the panelists. I want to make sure everybody is vaccinated before I come on, because I don't want to get infected. I'm very particular of this COVID-19.
I'm vaccinated and boosted.
I'm going to co-host this Romancing Grenada, Caracol, and Petit Martinique this morning. So welcome to all. I can see Garth George. Yes. I see a few people. I think that's Briggs. Is that you, Briggs?
Yes.
So I know the faces. Now I'm going to put the names of the faces. Everybody's age is like 40, 46 years for me. Seeing you guys. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
You still have hair.
I still have a bit of hair.
Yeah, you always had it, yeah.
Like the big fro back in the day.
I heard Dennis was on. Where's Dennis? I haven't seen him as yet.
Yes,
Dennis. Where are you guys?
Hi, guys.
Dennis Thomas.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
Oh, there. Still good looking. You're not a bad looking fella. There you go. Awesome.
So we also have Mr. Roland St. Paul.
Yes, I'm here.
I don't think
sort of GBSS crew. I started GBSS in '73, and that was the incubator for table tennis in Grenada. Anybody would tell you, Garth, Windell, Collin, a lot of guys, came with the GBSS Denis and all these guys.
Okay, so maybe it would be nice if you tell me at what school you went to and which parish you're from.
Right,
so we can, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, GBSS and from St. John's. Go.
You're from St. John's? Yes. Fishtown.
Yes, Fishtown, yeah. Because I'm in Grenada right now, and there's folks still partying like they did 50 years ago. The lands hasn't changed. Reminds me of New Orleans.
Never sleeps.
Never sleeps, yes.
That's great. And we have, I have to go to Mr. Denis Thomas right away, and then I'll come to Mr. Garth. Mr. Denis Thomas, I heard you're in Caracol right now.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Wow.
Our mom is, Shami and I are sisters, and our mom is from Caracol. Which part of Caracol are you in right now?
Harveyfield.
Okay. Harveyfield. Oh. All right.
Hillsborough.
So, my mom's from Hillsborough. But I heard great things about you, and I think Mr. Garth George had a little tribute to pay to you. So, Mr. Garth, take it away.
Well, as I said earlier, I guess before you started taping, so I'm from St. George's, born at a home in Church Street, Tonga St. George, like Froggy Boy, and went to GBSS, of course. But I do attribute Denis to making me whatever I was in table tennis in Grenada. I used to play what was called lawn tennis. You didn't actually play on a lawn. Growing up as a young teenager. And then in 1973, myself and I think it was Chris Briggs, we were cadets in the GBSS Cadet Corps, and we went to Guyana for cadet camp. And at the time, there was a Caribbean Table Tennis Championship in Guyana, in Georgetown. And there was some violence going on in Guyana at that time. And usually the cadet camp was in Timeri, but we were based in Georgetown. And a lot of the Guyanese cadets were interested in table tennis. And I did play a little bit of, we got ping pong. But we went over to the arena and I saw, Caribbean table tennis. Denis was down there. I think Bobby Rahman. and a few Charlie Hood probably and Sack Code. And so I saw games there and I became really interested. So when we went back to Grenada, GBSS had a table tennis club, and Dennis would remember there were boards A, B, and C. And I qualified for the B board and would always admire the guys on the green table on the A board. But Dennis would come to GBSS every so often and practice with the guys. And he took a little interest in me. And I started playing a lot with Dennis. And he actually helped me so much that I was able to make the national team in 1974 to the Caribbean Championships in Barbados. Of course, I made it because I think Charlie Hood and Sacco dropped out. So I came on as a reserve. But that was my first introduction to Caribbean table tennis. And then we actually went on to St. Vincent for the Windward Islands Junior Championship right after Barbados. And I was able to win the Windward Islands Junior Championship and men's doubles with Dennis. So Dennis made me what I was.
Men's that was in lawn tennis, men's double.
No. Table tennis. I stopped playing lawn tennis after 73 in Guyana. I started playing table tennis. So we went to the Caribbean Championships in Barbados, and then from there went to St. Vincent for the Windward Islands Table Tennis Championship.
Well, yeah, I heard that, but then I heard doubles.
Men's doubles. So table tennis, we play singles and doubles and mixed doubles with the women. So Dennis and myself won the men's doubles, and I was the junior champion, and Dennis was actually the senior champion of the Windward Islands at that time.
Congratulations!
So we did well.
I didn't know. Mr. Collin, you look quite young to me, so I'll leave you for a little bit later.
He came later. Right. He came much later.
Yeah.
Collin,
you look like a baby. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Collin and Roland came later.
Right.
Well, not as late as Collin, because I didn't even remember Collin playing when I left.
Yeah, I just remember I saw you guys. Remember when I came in, you all was senior already, and I was just learning. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and he still have that baby face. It look like 26 right now. So
you're gonna have to add on a lot more on that. It's a table tennis, though. My son always says it's a table tennis. That keeps us that way. Yeah,
it keeps you that way.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Okay.
I heard Roland is from St. John's, and most of you, it seems like from St. George's area. Do you feel a sense of brotherhood because you played tennis, or because you went to GBSS, or what is it? Because it seems as if you're very familiar with each other, even if Collin might be much younger than you. You still have this camaraderie. What is it? Is it a brotherhood because you played table tennis, or because you went to the same school?
Totally.
That's the fabulous thing about table tennis.
Totally.
Back then, we were a brotherhood. Grenada is a small island, and then we all played in CSA, and it was a tremendous brotherhood. I mean, it was such a wonderful family togetherness. It was unbelievable. Ian was with us for a few years, but he left early. What year did you leave, Ian? 76?
76, but I played in the championship against you guys in 75. So I played against yourself and Denis Thomas, Charlie Hood, Sack, guys like that. Robert Code. Yeah.
Sack, yeah.
So a follow-up question though, is table tennis still a big thing at home in Grenada, or?
I don't know. Is Ray Roberts?
Collin has kept up with it more than the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So
certainly, the number of players are much less now. Compared to, but we still have Ray and Nelson, Trevelyan. Some of the older persons are still there, but certainly it's a lot less. I always look forward to going because it's a fraternity. My mom always questioned me, Collin, are you going to play table tennis? I say, yes, Mom, that's my second family. I got to go.
Absolutely.
But, so do you think it's something that needs to be revived maybe on a parish level to kind of bring some sort of, again, Grenadianism back to us? Because I think we very TV oriented, very social media, and so we become so distant though we are home. And I think, do you think it's something that maybe need to be revived, maybe in a parish level first, so that we can start being back into what is Grenadian again?
Could I address that?
Go ahead.
Could I address that? This
Mr. Windell, yes.
Oh, Wendell is there. Wendell, my friend. Oh, geez, yes. Wendell is there. Hello, Wendell.
Mr. GBSS, yes.
Oh, geez.
Yes. I want to address that by just expanding on Garth George's comment about CSA as as the location or the center, more or less, of the table tennis world for us during the time that we played. Actually, there were a number of locations. CSA, GBSS, occasionally college. And Ian, Mr. Fergie, I hope you don't mind the fact that TBC played second fiddle to GBSS. That is not a footnote. Those are facts.
No, that's a fact. You guys were top in the 100. So we had no way of competing with you guys.
But
they had A, B, and C board. Like
yeah, we had one board. And everybody fighting for one board. Hey, listen, man. You had A, B, and C. There's no competition.
Right. And you stood out, though. So kudos to you. But continuing
Gary Sardina.
On the location, Grandance was also a location. But those are all St. George's. We also, today being Sunday, occasionally on a Saturday, on Sunday, we might be in Birch Grove, we might be in Guelph. So it was national. It was not, I don't think, the situation where you would have the country tongue rivalry or criticism coming from players in the country being left out. I speak about this given the fact that I also played soccer. And on the youth team, there was that argument that the team comprised essentially guys from St. George's, which was mostly, if you say St. George's, you're saying GBSS as well. I think the national youth team in 1980, soccer team, there were about 12 of us from GBSS. But that's soccer. I want to focus on the table tennis. It was a national experience. We engaged the guys from throughout the outer parishes. And Roland, you know your guys, the Peters brothers. Their father religiously took them down. Right. He invested so much. And these guys, especially the younger ones.
Yes.
Roland, you could give me. He stood
David,
out.
David and Garfield and those guys. They played a lot. Yes.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
His bigger brother was a competitor, but didn't
Garfield,
have the results that his younger brother did. And as I speak, I could see the frustration with him having lost maybe to Snakehead or even Ken. While on the other hand, you would have his brother, the younger brother, being victorious and getting to the finals. So there was that camaraderie, but it's not focused on.
It wasn't a rivalry.
Just to the St. George's area. It was throughout the country. And it's something that I think needs to be revived. So I hope that gets to your question a few moments ago.
And it's interesting, just talking to the folks in Grenada now with table tennis. As I said, I'm here now. Guelph seems to be the center of table tennis. And Collin and I talked about that when we saw each other at a tournament in Maryland a couple of years ago. Most of the players are coming out of Guelph, and for some reason, so there is a Grenadian, his family's from Guelph. He lives in Ohio, and he donated 4 top-notch boards to the people in Guelph just last year. And he's donated a lot of rackets and all that. He's an insurance exec, has done well, and he's given back a lot. So but Guelph is just one parish. I don't know of anything going on in Sautez or in Victoria or in Grenville or in St. David. So it's really St. George's and Guelph has always been the case, and now mostly Guelph.
I have to agree with that. Up to this point, there aren't any players from St. David's per se. It's just now myself and Wall Gable. But in the past, we've never had players from St. David's. There was no organized table tennis in St. David's at all. I think just Paul Williams, who went to college, and I played with him as a junior. He was already senior, but I don't think he was as strong as you guys. But we represented St. David's many years ago. But table tennis was never organized in St. David's. And that's where I learned my game. And I have to thank Mr. Windell Thomas for giving me my first break. I was sitting in the classroom in Form 3 in GBSS, and he came on the side window. In those days, we had the kind of window you would push it out with a piece of wood. And
barracks.
Yeah. Collin, can you play for the school team, second division team? And I was so elated, and I would always remember and always be grateful and thankful to Windell Thomas for allowing me to play and getting a chance. I've never looked back, actually.
Can I do pause for a moment to recognize Mr. Gordon Briggs?
Yes.
Hello.
We just went right in before I finished my introduction. But before I say this, before I ask you to speak, I just want to say about St. Andrews, I don't know, but I remember in the 70s, these guys in St. Ladig area were making table tennis racket out of plywood or something. They made their own.
There was a guy, Brave Boy. Brave Boy came out of St. Andrews.
Yeah. Tire, who was it?
Delbert Brave Boy.
Brave Boy.
Oh, okay.
He lives in Butch Grove, yeah.
Butch Grove,
They made the tired up in rubber bands around the pad, the handle. Yeah, but I can't remember where they played. So it could have been that they were down played in St. George's somewhere. So I
Brave Boy came down to St. George's a lot.
Well, yeah. Well, most of the bright fellows were in GBSS or PBC. I mean,
I think the Peters brothers. I think they were the Joseph brothers. They also played. Peter Joseph and his brother.
Right.
Yeah, Peter Joseph.
Joseph was the guy we went to make our rackets because he was a wing and he knew how to make. I mean, the best quality rackets came when Joseph started making them for us.
All right. So, Mr. Gordon Briggs.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself.
Hello to everyone. My fondest memories, my best part of my life, apart from trying to serve the Lord and raising my family, was playing table tennis with these great men. Just barely knew Mr. Thomas. I just saw him play a few times. But my days were with Roberts and Charlie and Mr. Greenridge too and others. So I'm very glad to be on this call this morning. And I hope, in truth, coming from this, something could be done for table tennis to be like it used to be back then, when all we lived for was to play and beat each other with excitement. Thank you very much.
Are you from St. George's as well?
Manjaloo.
Manjaloo, and you went to GBSS?
No, I went to Shilpa.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we had a switch. Roland came down and you went up.
Roland, I remember you too good, boy.
Yeah, we played a lot. I remember, Briggs, you played for Berean Church. You and Ken.
Yes.
Because I later played for Huggins Lane, Trevor Lane, Nelson. I played for Huggins Pioneers.
Yeah.
And Biggies.
Biggies, yeah. Well, Biggies and I were double partners. We were double partners.
And we had a team.
You had a league outside of school.
Well, well, we all watched CSA all the time, and wherever a board was, I think I played on every board in St. George's Fire Station. When them had a board,
on the Carnage.
Williams,
they had a team from the Carnage board.
Yes, Charlie. The Carnage United was Charlie Hood, Windell, and myself.
Right, you played for Carnage. Okay. I couldn't remember which team you played for.
Tell me, sorry, because I'm not from St. George's. Where is CSA?
Well, it's called the Public Workers Union. What is the Public Workers Union now?
Oh, and Tantin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what public was.
So it was CSA.
One question though, was the table tennis an inter-secondary school competition, a tournament, or anything like that in your day?
No, we didn't have much inter-secondary. We had different singles matches, doubles matches, and we had teams, and we had a team tournament.
Okay, so it just happened to be among guys who went to secondary school, but they were outside.
We had clubs, but then we also had, prior to myself and Wendell joining Carnage with Charlie, we had a GBSS team that played in the national team tournament. And we were actually fortunate enough to win one year with myself, Windell, and Biggies, Junior Wilson. We actually won it, as students in GBSS, we actually won the national team tournament. But there wasn't any inter-secondary championships like there was in football and cricket and stuff like that.
Yeah, but there was a parish tournament.
One of the persons I think, and I'm sorry he's not here, we should attribute to the growth of table tennis is Ray Roberts. I mean, Ray Roberts has been the constant in table tennis from the time I started to the time I left Grenada. And I think what pushed us nationally to make table tennis recognized and always in the news was that Ray Roberts was in Radio Grenada. He was a broadcaster.
Yeah, so he was able to.
So we got publicity all the time. I mean, all our tournaments were announced, the championships recognized. So you have to, Ray Roberts is like the grandfather of table tennis. I mean,
I remember.
I'm sure he's still involved.
No, totally. He is involved. Yeah.
So maybe coming from this could be an occasion to revive. And the 50th anniversary of Grenada is coming not too far from now. Maybe plans to be made to make boards available in different parishes. And so find the old boys in the old parishes. And so they can start from now to re-encourage young people to get involved in something that's productive, that could use their time between intercall and athletics.
And we were just talking about Ray Roberts. Before we go on, can I say something about Ray Roberts that nobody obviously overlooked? Ray Roberts has a disability, and he played against us, right?
Right.
I mean, you ever thought about how much energy he has to put out to play one set? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine if he was.
And he plays still today. I spoke to him just a few days ago. Today, he's still playing. He never stopped.
Yeah.
No, he never stopped.
It's his exercise, this form of, every Saturday you go down to CSA or Public Works now, and he's still at it, So I have to, applaud him for that.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
So
a lot of us have stopped playing over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember about table tennis, ping pong, and they used to sell those balls. 605 was in a long package.
Yeah.
And you bought this package of this light white ping pong balls. And it's anytime I see those balls, I watch those Chinese play now. It's a very fast, aggressive game. That's why I'm kind of shocked that Wendell says he's a laid back, shy kind of fellow, because I know that game to be lightning speed and aggressive.
Wendell not laid back. Wendell played almost every sport in Grenada.
Yes. Very bashful now.
Wendell was not only on table tennis national teams, football and cricket.
Yes.
Yeah. Talented family.
But Wendell, how you explain this bashfulness, I don't understand.
and worse, here is what's worse. On top of all that, Wendell is a lawyer. You can't be a lawyer and be shy.
I guess his alter ego he puts on. He puts on his alter ego when he competes.
This is normal Wendell, and the other one is the projection.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Collin Greenridge.
Yes.
Tell us about you now.
Well, I started to play in the St. Dominic's RC school, just dabbling in it with a friend of mine. And but in Penwater, there was a table in the Roman Catholic Church parish room, and some guys from college who went to college and lived in the village would play almost every day. Lingham Samuel.
Which village?
In Penwater. So I came from St. David's. And there was Lingham Samuel and a guy called Harris Antoine, the Hercules brothers, and some others. They all left Grenada, except I think Lingham Samuel is still around. But I couldn't get into the room. I was too young. I was still in primary school. And when they departed and they went to sixth form and to study abroad and so on, I got the chance to go into that room. And Mr. Harris Antoine, who passed away, he showed me how to hold a racket and play, and he taught me how to play. So I would always be grateful to him also, because he initiated me into the game. And then when I went to GBSS, that's when I saw a whole new world. And that's when I heard about CSA. And then I went there and I saw all these guys that are now there. I heard names, some of whom I never saw play. I never saw Mr. Denis Thomas play. I only heard about him. I heard about Sakud. I heard about Brian John. Then I met Brian. Brian later taught me in sixth form and so on. But as a youngster, I didn't see some of them play. So I would like to know more about what happened. And what I would really like to see, to be honest with you, is to see the game being chronicled, because we cannot leave it up to just hearsay. It would be nice to have certain things on paper and documented. Maybe one day we might have a center and we can put things up, audiovisual stuff with the past players talking about the game. I heard the game used to be played in Belmont, But I myself, I never went there. I only heard about these.
That would be amazing. Just jump in here. We need, as Grenadians, that's why I started the show, because we need, it's almost with us. It's like, what have you done for me lately? Ray Roberts, we still hear about. But for example, Nelson Lewis, which I was trying to get on. Yeah. We don't, once you leave the arena, nothing. Except you keep yourself active. Nobody... The thing is, these people are still around, and so we still have this opportunity to chronicle the game, document it. I say this for our country. I don't think we manage our history properly and write it down so that others can see it later, because we can learn a lot from it, build on things, plan to do things later, and see where we came from, and you can see the path that we took. They're also good for just talking purposes, discussing things. So it is important that we have these things documented, and I would imagine that some persons have some information written on paper, but it's somewhere in the house, and hopefully they can share these things with all of us so that people down the road can look at this thing, and then we have a whole legacy of table tennis, not just one single period, but a legacy. If you look at things like in cricket, like the Melbourne Cricket Club in England or the big cricket clubs in Australia, you go in there and you're like in a museum. And they can tell you from way back when to now. 1800s, yes.
Yeah, so I would like to see that in table tennis, because we do have a past and we have a little bridge still. Ray Roberts and those guys can still bridge what happened back then to the young people now. I would like to see it happen.
I just want to take a minute to, I have to recognize and say hello to Amanda John.
Hey, Amanda.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. We're talking table tennis.
Welcome, Amanda.
Hello, Amanda.
Hi.
Okay, so you're GBSS boys. So Amanda, tell us about yourself.
Oh, I was on the spot. But okay, so a table tennis junkie. I got introduced to the game very late. Didn't have a junior stint at all, but never too late to learn to play the game, right? So I started playing, I think, just as I was in school, but I've always been surrounded by it because my brother played. Well, he's the biggest. Right?
Alfred, of course.
Oh, Alfred. Okay, I remember Alfred.
Biggest donkey. So I got that exposure to the game growing up, watching these guys play, like watching Alfred play, watching Snakehead play, a ton of guys. Happy, who I should mention, isn't very well now. I don't know if you guys know.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Everett John.
Yeah.
As he's representing Grenada on many stages, many years, won a ton of and medals and accolades, and I think I just deviating a bit because he's been on my mind a lot. The last time we went to visit him, I was remember he has shelves in the house lined with trophies and stuff, right? And I was like, man, you don't have space for all this stuff, right? And he was like, I play again or whatever, play again,
What's his name? Sorry?
Everett John.
Everett John?
Happy birthday. Yes. So right now, the association is trying to see how they can help him gain access to some medical side of Grenada, because
we're not hearing you well. Your volume's going.
Volume? Maybe
you're
my
breaking
phone.
up, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going and coming.
Oh, maybe my connection.
Yeah, maybe then.
No?
Mm.
No?
Yeah. Yes, we heard you.
Okay, right. So I was just saying the GTTA, the Grenada Table Tennis Association, is trying to help him, to access some medical needs open heart surgery. He has a tumor on his heart.
All right. We're gonna see what we can do here after, how we can make some kind of contributions to the GTTA. I'm really sorry to hear that.
But he's in good spirits. And, he still has a little smile and a little twinkle in his eye. And I think, we just pray and hope that he will make it through. But I grew up watching people like Happy play and just seeing how these guys love the game so much. I started playing. I did, I think my table tennis kind of evolved when I went to Barbados. I went to school there for a bit. So I started to play years. I don't know if you guys as my battery almost. But
yeah, we missed that completely. So you went to Barbados. What year?
1998.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you took it seriously. Which school you went to? High school or?
Roland St. George's. No, let me log off. Let me log off and try on a different device to see if you...
All right.
I think this is a good time, since this was the female side of table tennis, to, if only by mention of the name, but I'm sure it would generate discussion. The other standout female players over the years. We have, unfortunately, one individual who has passed on. That's Miss Nadika McIntyre, who is a relative of Marva McIntyre. We have Sharon Pilgrim, and I would leave the others. One of my cousins, Alison Green, and there are a number of others. Ray's sister, Ray Roberts' sister,
Rhonda,
played. Although she tended to be a little not interesting, I think. She was I'm kind of laid back, but she was very laid back. I think she enjoyed the camaraderie because it was a family affair, I think. Coming on Saturdays, on Sundays, and around this time of the year, we're looking at the conclusion of the National Table Tennis Tournament, guys.
I agree with Windell. There's no doubt we can't not talk about the ladies of table tennis when we were growing up. I mean, when I started, Nadika, of course, was the women's champion. She was the queen back then, but I think ultimately the queen of our era was Marva McIntyre.
No question.
Marva practiced with the guys. She was that good.
She was the
only one that...
Marva didn't play with the other females. She played with us. Yes. She was that good. And then I think Alison Green then came on and Sharon Pilgrim to a lesser extent out of Copland was also good. But Marva was the queen. Marva was the queen. Of that
she was
queen.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I remember the tournaments abroad because the year Marva Garth was there, we traveled, we played at the Windward Island tournament in St. Lucia. Marva won that. I mean, she always won.
She always won
the Caribbean, the Windward Island. She won in the Caribbean. I remember being in Aruba with Marva in '80. Garth was there as well, and she would get further along in the singles than the men would.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She was a good player.
Dennis is here, but I think Dennis made quarters once in the Caribbeans, but I can't. I think Dennis made quarterfinals.
I have a commitment. I have to leave.
Mr. Briggs, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Coming on.
All right. Wendell,
thank you, guys.
Nice to hear you.
And all we'll try and set up a new thing for you guys to have a competition because I know you were challenging a few of those fellas.
No, listen. I go home every year and there's 20 guys and from Guam and we play a tournament every year. Because of the COVID, I didn't go last year, but I'm planning to go next year in March.
We got what a contribution that you made. I think Connie mentioned that you have this tournament every year and you give away equipment and, rackets and rubbers and stuff like that. That tournament, we can't forget that.
Yes.
That's a big thing. Keep going, my friend.
All right. So who do you want me to set up? Right. Who do you want to beat? Who do you want me to set up this competition with, please?
Collin and Connie.
Boy, Briggs, you're gonna have a tough task, boy.
Collin and
Connie. Not on the same day, Briggs. Not on the same day.
Collin and Connie. Because Collin playing Collin playing in the what do you call it?
In Florida?
The handicap division.
Handicap. You're right. I can play with my left hand against you. I can play with my left hand against you.
I love you. All right.
I love you, Briggs.
Thank you. All right.
Very good.
Very good, kid.
You guys gone Copland?
So Amanda is back, and somebody is trying to come on Galaxy.
Yes. Gordon, hey, Copey, yeah, Copey, man.
Oh my God.
Copey, how you doing? Well, Hannah, I have a story to talk about Copey. I have something to say about Copey, okay?
Okay.
When I started playing table tennis, Copey was one of the guys on table number A, right? I remember A, B, and C in Grenada. I'm sorry, GBSS.
Yes.
I was on board B. Copey was with the big guys on even though he was, I think, a year younger than I was. Copey was one of the top class players, and he was actually the junior champion in Grenada. So we went to Barbados in '74, and Copey went as our junior. Right? Copey stood out to be like sort of a shy guy, but back then Copey was, he was really up on his table tennis, and you had to come strong to beat him. And so the Caribbean junior champion was from '73 was a Barbadian called Carl Seeley.
Oh, I know that.
We weren't sure if Carl was going to be a junior in Barbados or not. But Copey had the mindset that he was going to be junior champion of the Caribbean. And so we went to Barbados. And we were in a taxi with a guy called 7 Up Sam. I'm sorry Ray's not here because, Ray would remember the story. And we're sitting in the car and we asked 7 Up Sam if Carl Seeley is still a junior. And I was sitting in the front seat. And 7 Up Sam said, no, he's a senior now. He's on the senior team. And I turned back and looked at Copey in the back seat, and Copey was smiling. Then I had, this is mine now. This is mine. Copey's first match in the juniors was against a Jamaican called Michael 10. Still remember the name. This is like 40 years ago or something, more than that. Michael 10. And he had a serve. And we all ended up using that serve. We called it the lie down, right? Roland will remember that.
Yeah.
Will remember that. Windell will remember that. Yeah. Michael 10 dropped that lie down serve on Copey. 5 straight points off the table. And that was it. That was the end of Copey and the Caribbean Junior Championship. And I'm going to tell you, that serve became the most popular serve in Grenada for a number of years. Everyone coming after was doing this particular serve. I mean, it served us well. And Windell and Roland, you all remember that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was the only serve at the time. That was it.
I just want to let God know that Carl Seeley is still involved in table tennis, highly involved in Barbadian table tennis.
Wow. He
comes up to Washington, D.C. every year with a bunch of juniors.
Yeah.
Every year.
He was an excellent player.
He's always there. That's where I met him, Collin, at the tournament in Maryland.
Yeah, he's always there. Wow. Has a lot of experience. Yeah.
He was
really good.
He was my coach in Barbados for as well.
But, Carl Seeley, yeah.
Carl Seeley.
Yeah, very dedicated to table tennis.
So let me ask, God, you had to tell this story now?
I
just came on.
Copey was a very confident player. He had a lot of confidence in his game.
Copey, you got to defend yourself, man.
Yeah, man. What happened after that? Did you join the senior champion just to beat Seeley?
No, well, Seeley wasn't there, but Seeley, Denis Thomas took care of Carl Seeley.
Yes.
But you know what's interesting to show you how the Caribbean's small. My cousin Darrell Rapper's wife is a brother of a guy called Christopher Grogram, which was one of the top juniors at the time from Jamaica.
With Michael 10.
Yes, Richard Stevenson. Richard Stevenson was the best, and then you had Bobram, and then you had Michael Ten. Now, only just the other day I realized that, well, wait now. When Anya Bobram is married to Darrell Raffit, and Darrell is my first cousin, so she told me how Christopher Bobram is now a doctor in St. Lucia. Like I said, but wait now, all these tennis players turn out to be doctors like that. But it was so, that in 1974 I met this guy with Michael Ten and so on. But God, they joke about it with his lie-down service. I remember Biggies saying, boy, this boy come to play cricket, not table tennis, because I was throwing the ball. It's true.
That's funny.
Because we had no official coaches. You just taught each other, right? We just saw the
practiced.
Game.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the drawbacks of Grenadian table tennis is that we never had coaches for any extended period. I know that I've seen tournaments and so on where they would bring a coach from Trinidad, but just for 2 weeks, that is not adequate at all. You need an extensive period of time so that people can learn the proper techniques, because really and truly is the techniques first and the other stuff after. And we need a lot of that.
Yeah, we just learn from each other.
Yeah, there was one period, I think around the 80s, when Group C came back. And Group C worked with us for maybe 6 months, guys. And that was
right. Group C played on the team too.
Yeah.
So,
this is Ken.
But God, another joke on myself. Remember 1977 in Guyana?
Caribbean tournament in Guyana, yeah.
When they had this guy from Venezuela, from Francisco Lopez.
Yeah, but after
that time we had Nicholas Bucket's son, Earl and Sammy, and 1 or 2 other Grenadians came to watch us play.
Yes.
I came up against this guy called Francisco Lopez, a really wet player.
Wow.
And the guy beat 21-2. So Victor Palmer on the side, telling Garth and them, well, this will be the topic in the room. But when Victor Palmer told him, he got 21-1.
Yeah, remember Victor Palmer, Victor P. Listen, as you can tell from all this, we had great times. We were all good friends, and even though we competed against each other, at the end of the day, we were so together. It was such a family. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's an integral part of my life.
But it's interesting to me that most of you from different parishes, and you were able to keep the country tongue thing at bay when you do the table tennis. But when it came to school and sports, it was a different story. How were you able to keep the friendship and not animosity when you play table tennis?
I think table tennis is a fraternity. Anywhere you go in the world, if you pick up a racket, you just walk into it. And that is my experience. Going to many places and you pick up a racket and you are friends with these people because of one thing in common. You can hold a racket and hit the ball back and forth. So it's not that it was necessarily a small group of people. It was quite an extensive group of people playing at the time. I remember tournaments with at least 50, 60 people in Guelph. So there were many people, but we all have this one thing in common, this little abstract thing that we hit back and forth and trying to outsmart each other with this.
Abstracting the ball, conceptual conduit.
I think maybe some of it too could be that we went to just secondary school competitions.
So just give me a minute to recognize Mr. Philip Peters, but I want to listen to Mr. Philip Peters. Welcome. But Amanda, good morning and welcome. I'm going to come back to you in a minute. I'm just going to ask, we want to hear a little bit from Amanda. She's the only female table tennis champion or table tennis player we have on right now. And your connection's not very well. So I'll come back to you.
Surely.
So, Amanda.
Yes,
Indiana. Yes. You're in the spotlight.
If you could hear me better now,
yes, much better.
Okay. Yes. All right.
So, which school did you go to?
All right. So I went to St. Joseph's Convent, St. George's.
Okay. And you had boards there? You had table tennis boards there?
Right. So just in, I think, around 1994, they installed a proper games room with one board. And I had somehow, managed to acquire my dad's, because my dad used to play as well, my dad's old Mark V blade. So I felt I was in thing, Yeah. And man, I couldn't, all I had was a push and a little block. And so that's where that's where I really started playing the game. And then later on, as I said, we went to TAMCC, played down at CSA, but before that, grew up just sitting on the side watching the guys play. And then later on, I spent a lot of time outside of Grenada, so I missed a lot of the nationals and these events. But the few that I competed in, I can't remember the years now, but there were 1 or 2 titles in there, champion titles, and then a couple other secondary titles. But I had my most fun, Collin would know, playing in London. I was a little black youth on the circuit, a little black female on the circuit, getting real blows, but just soaking it all in, because it was such a learning experience, being exposed to that level of play and just watching it, So I did go to 2 Caribbeans. The early one was when I experienced the 21-2 and 21-3 and thing. And actually that was against a player that went up, Rian, forget her last name.
Rian Chung.
Yeah, Dexter St. Louis' daughter. Yeah. So I felt very honored to be beaten by her, because she went on to do amazing things in her career, in her table tennis career. And I feel like, it's like Collin said, you talk table tennis, your face lights up. You just feel like, as a family, as a fraternity, no matter where you go. And I enjoy playing the game so much. My only thing I wish, like everybody had said before, I think I heard you guys talking when I came on, was that the level of exposure, especially for young people, at an early, at that critical part of your development of the game, was not there. So some of us could have gone on to do greater things, right? But I feel like that could change. There is still time, and if we work together to get it done, why not? We just had a junior. On a wild card. Dave Marquez, and the late Dave Marquez, he died sadly 2 weeks before he was due to travel with his son to Colombia to compete in the inaugural Junior Pan Am Games, right? So that was hard, because he was all during the lockdown. Piper was training him. Benji, Anthony Benjamin. He's not an official coach, but he's a coach by just nature and his understanding of the game and so on. So they were working with Cedric, and then the lockdown came. So Piper took over just as we got sort of some of these restrictions removed, that they could continue training on the beach and Guam, and they did their thing. And then 2 weeks before he was due to leave, his dad died on the job. He used to work for Nawasa, right? So it hit everybody really hard, but Cedric still went off, held his head high, represented Grenada. He got knocked out in his qualifying rounds against, I think it was a Colombian that took him out. But Piper reported that it was very challenging. Obviously, his state of mind was probably, but it was his first event, international event, and he did his best, and that's what anybody could ask for, right? Absolutely. So we have promising juniors here. Coming up, we have, how do you keep them?
May I say one thing there? And Roland and Wendell, they both can attest to this, because they have been to the tournaments in Washington. Actually, Amanda, you have been to the tournament in Washington.
Amanda was there a couple
I think
years
it's
ago.
it is the ideal sort of tournament for the Grenadian people to play, because it's an entry-level tournament. There are many different levels of play. And so the Grenadians will find a place to play and learn some things about the game, because they are missing out on a lot. The game has changed drastically in the last 25 to 30 years. And they do not play. When I go back home, sometimes I get a little bit disappointed. I know some people are working hard, but sometimes I get a little bit disappointed because there are so many mediums now that they can use to pick up some of these changes in the game, and they have not really used them. The youths have not really taken them on. So I'd like to see them go to this tournament in Washington, D.C., get exposed to that without going into these harder tournaments like a World Championships or sort of hemispheric championships. These are too difficult for them at the onset. So you need to gradually bring them into, and I think the tournament in Washington, D.C. is the most appropriate tournament. It's better than the OECS. They're going to get a lot of games. They play all the days. You never get like knocked out and then you just sit on the side. You are always playing. So it gives them a chance. I think, Amanda, you've been to that tournament. You probably can attest to that.
Yeah, that was an awesome tournament. I mean, I came back here and I was like, we need to get the teams. We need to get the juniors. We need to send people. We need to. And then it just fell on deaf ears. I'll be honest with you guys. It's like most associations in Grenada for all sports. It's always challenging to see the large, to see the vision, especially when you have older heads still at the helm. So it's always a little challenging to bridge that gap of the now. but yeah, I think that's an awesome place to start.
So, Collin and Amanda, how do you get the GTTA?
Just a minute. I see Mr. Philip Peters, Ken, and you seem to have a brother there with you. Or
my nephew. Oh,
your nephew.
Yeah, he's an educator. How's it going?
Nice to see you, Ken. It's on many years, man.
It's been over a generation.
Yeah, it's so long.
Yes. I'm visiting my nephew's home.
Oh, okay.
So he just had a new baby. So as an uncle, I have to pass by often.
Congrats.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah.
You miss Briggs, Ken. You miss Briggs.
Oh yes. Gordon Briggs and myself used to have a good time playing tennis.
Yeah.
But
so are you a GBSS guy too, or PBC?
Well, what a question! I mean, the guys who really ruled Grenada were the GBSS, right?
What a boaster!
Yeah, I'm not sure if the leadership drove the country in the right direction.
You're right on that.
I remember at GBSS one day, Gary came to present. Have a speech to GBSS. And Roland and these guys booed. Roland, you want to get? Roland, not me. They booed Gary from the stage.
Oh my God!
And I was very unhappy with Roland doing that because I'm just kidding.
He didn't say Windell. He didn't say Biggies.
Oh, Windell. Because I was getting a little check from the scholarship. And after they booed Gary off the stage, Gary cut the checks off.
But GBSS was militant back in the day.
GBSS was always militant.
Yeah. It was militant.
That's something else.
Yeah.
So you booed Uncle off the stage. I know why though. It wasn't politics. That was because Uncle played lawn tennis.
Yeah, actually he did. Yeah, he did.
He never played on lawns.
Could I address an issue of resources? I think Amanda mentioned Piper a few moments ago in her comment. Piper is Jason Stanislaus. Assuming some of you guys know that name. He basically ruled the roost for quite a while. And is basically in a retired status, but is extending himself by being a coach. And that's what we really had over the years. We had to rely on our own. Table tennis has suffered from the malaise of poor investment in the sport. And I say that comparing it to, for example, cricket or even soccer. For the youth team, we had, for example, a gentleman that I remember fondly, Coach August Wooter, who came to Grenada on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
Right. On the OAS contract. We didn't, for some reason, see the need through the government to have that same kind of resource extended to table tennis. But we relied on people like Ray Roberts. Dennis, you were, in my formative years, as much as was the case with Garth and Roland, you were an inspiration for so many of us. And so we looked to our own to supply that kind of guidance. In the case of 1977 going to Guyana, Ray, I think it was Ian Sogi, you mentioned the fact that he has a disability, but not only did he play, he provided coaching for us. I remember playing against my arch rival from Trinidad, Steve Rockveer. He was a junior.
Yeah.
No, Mark Chum, and Steve Rockveer. I thought I was having a good first game against both of them. Turns out, at the end of the first game, coach called them, and the game was ended after, I think I got 2 straight every time in both instances.
Yes.
What I have seen now, though, is that there's been some committed Grenadians who are trying to improve the sport. This is not being selfish. I must mention my nephew, Wilton, Freddie Thomas. He's Windell Thomas. He last year streamed actually a local tournament that he went home, and he had the cooperation of Ray. Vida Bruno was there. Jason was there. It was successfully done at the CSA, and it was live streamed. And he wants to build on that, and he's doing that on his own, getting sponsors. I think he's associated with a university in New York, and I think he's home at the moment. So we have to rely on ourselves if we can't get the government to provide the incentives and the resources. And we've been fairly successful, but we could take it up a notch. And I just wanted to make that observation. Oh, one last thing. Regarding the camaraderie, it has extended beyond ourselves. 1977, even in that period, Trinidad, the players, Mansinger Marsing, Lionel Darkeye,
Stephen Wade,
those are
Hamilton Bridgman.
Right.
Yeah, Derek De Silva.
Asgarali, those guys, yeah.
Right now in the DC area, Asgarali is in the Maryland area. I see him fairly often.
I've played against him a few times,
His son runs a table tennis center in Northeast DC. And even though I didn't know him, through his dad, he is very close to me, very positive individual, and they're all committed to table tennis.
Yep, very committed.
Very, very good, very, very, very positive relationship that has developed over the years because of table tennis, and I encourage that.
Well, as much I appreciate everybody being here today. We're gone past an hour. We don't want to tax people too much with our stories, but I really love the show, and maybe we can do a second one. We can probably again invite Ray Roberts, Marva McIntyre, and I really like to see Nelson Lewis on too. Anybody know what school he went to? Nelson Lewis?
PBC.
PBC fellow. Okay.
Yeah,
so Ian needs some more PBC. Because
can I just say one quick thing, Sunyan? Just in relation to what Sir Thomas would have just shared. Freddie is a very close, Wilbur, a very close friend of mine, and actually my company, Brainstorm Productions, assisted him with the whole stream of that tournament last year that he was referring to. I think he's trying to come back again in January, February to do it again, which is awesome. The association itself, though, they've been trying, right? They've had a lot of opportunities with the ITTF, especially in the last year. Where, we've initiated virtual coaching programs to help people interested get certified, that kind of thing, pass on that information to the youth. Just before the lockdown, there was an elite program for the juniors. So we had a ton of juniors coming out and trained and that kind of thing. So they are trying. I think we have boards coming in next year from the ITTF through an assistance grant. So there's things happening on the ground. The association just needs, I think, more support, right? Because it's just a handful of people.
Boy, nobody represent PDC, boy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Commander.
And you said St. Thomas, so Thomas, Amanda, you said St. Thomas?
No, I was Wendell. I was talking about Wendell's cousin, Freddie, or Wilbur Thomas. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know somebody, but I don't think he's here. Richie Hughes got awarded for community activities, right? One of the tennis, but he's not here today. I have people with two numbers, but I don't know who they are and they haven't identified themselves. One is a 301, so I don't know if that's Maryland or something. 301, and you're making noise right now. Can you tell us who you are?
Biggies, you there?
Is that Biggies?
That's not. Biggies. That has to be done.
You're speaking right now. We don't know who you are. Okay.
And a 95.
Just a second. One of the things that I would like that we can take from this is how we can help as
Snakehead, Stephen Lewis.
Oh, that's Snakehead?
Yeah. I don't.
Oh.
Snakehead, I don't know. We need to get him on as well. And also, there's a guy called Kipling Frederick.
Yeah, that guy, yes.
Kipling's in Toronto, right?
No, Kipling, yeah. Yes, Kipling Frederick.
We have a Toronto number here. I have 3 phone numbers here, but the people aren't saying who they are, and I don't know.
I don't know what connection. That 249 is Biggies, but I was just trying. I don't know if he's hearing us. So he connected to us. Biggies, can you hear us?
Good morning.
Good morning. I was listening to you guys. I tried to jump in, but maybe it's a connection.
So tell us who you are.
Donald Wilson. Alias Biggies.
Donald Wilson. Alias Biggies. Are we calling you already, Biggies?
It's God, man. A long time I talk to you, boy. How long?
Yes. Long time.
Can you show us your face?
Me, you, and Windell.
Well, yeah, Windell, Roland. Oh my God, there's so many memories.
Copey, I got to call you, but we'll do that offline. Yes.
I think one of the things we need to mention about not just table tennis, but in sports in general, is how it shapes all our lives, and how the discipline of the game, the camaraderie, the friendship, knowing that you could lose on certain times and come back another day. I mean, those are all lifetime experiences. It all helps us throughout all our careers. And whatever we turned out to be, we can fall back on table tennis. During my stressful times, I just reminisce. I reminisce about the glory days of playing with these guys and the trips we made, to Caribbean tournaments, Windward Islands tournament. I mean, it's my stress relief, just going back and thinking about those good days. And we always have times in our life that we say, we wish we never changed. That's one part of my life I would never change.
Beautiful.
That sounds so good. Well put.
Very profound.
I'm not sure who the author was, but they talk about a thing called a wall of fame. I think it was Zig Ziglar, I'm not sure. A wall of fame that you would come back to and look at your accomplishments, because a lot of time in life, as we get older and life hits us, we feel we didn't accomplish anything. You feel depressed and down, and you can always look back at the things you have accomplished. And another philosopher saying, and the problem why we get depressed, dejected, and feel down is because we always shift the goalposts of happiness. So we always keep moving what happiness means to us. So because we are approaching something that's difficult, we get depressed because we seem to can't handle it. We can always look back to our tennis days, or championships, the camaraderie between friends and all that. And what I found about sports, even in Amanda and Gordon Copland here talking about their losses, they have the confidence to talk about it and laugh about it. And it gives you, it lifts you ever so higher when you can accept defeat and move on.
Well, some of my best matches were losses. I mean, I had they were wonderful. They were in Washington D.C. Some wonderful matches. I came out on the other end, but they were such great matches. A lot of entertainment, a lot of character. Table tennis is a game of a lot of personality, and usually I say that because if you are playing against 10 persons, you have to approach all of them differently. It's a game that's about 70% mental. You're using your brain as opposed to physical stuff. And that's why it's a game that older people can play. And they always recommend the game for people to prevent or to delay the onset of dementia and so on. They recommend table tennis. Yeah, it's a wonderful sport.
From what you say,
Collin, on that. Yeah, basically it's for... They say they did a survey and the people in a home who are having dementia, all sorts of different dementias. You notice that they didn't go down as far. The ones who play table tennis didn't go to that point where there's no return. They tend to go slower. So it's really good to exercise the brain as well as the physical.
So maybe earlier in life, an early introduction, particularly for young men, an early introduction to life with table tennis, because it says, welcome to life. You learn camaraderie, you learn brotherhood. So earlier in life, I think maybe at a primary school level where young men and women can learn how to handle different personalities. So in life, you get a life lesson. You don't have to learn to fight physically, but because you learn how to deal with personalities on the table tennis, you take that skill into life with you. So for a small country as Grenada, where to me, from what I'm hearing here, crimes seem to be almost every day, something like a reintroduction of a national tennis championship or matches or games at the parish levels would help young people to refocus their attentions on things that are more uplifting or grow, at least better for growing Grenada and Grenadians than what maybe the things that we look at the social media level.
And I would add that table tennis is really the fountain of youth.
Wow, look at
it. Yep.
Keep playing. And
my son studied neurology, and he always make that statement. He said, Dad, he's looking at my friends, and he said, there's one constant here, it's table tennis. That keeps you guys young.
Okay, I should start playing.
I don't know.
Age.
And I think
you're doing just fine.
Tennis, for me, it has to be agility and I didn't think it was brain, but
coordination. Yes,
it has to be more brain than physical. And from talking to Ian before, Ferguson, I remember him saying that he wasn't very competitive in other sports, and table tennis gave him this opportunity to come into his own. And table tennis is something you can practice yourself. You can do yourself at home.
Oh, you can do a lot. You can do a lot.
Yeah,
you can play the game just lying on your back and just looking at the roof, because you can just simulate serving to the other person and what they are going to do and what you are going to do next, etc.
Wow.
So there are many things you can do without actually going on the table.
That's a pre-game.
And I will add that the mental side of it is even more challenging now, given the fact that it's changed from 4 of 21 to win to now 11.
Yep.
Somebody goes up even by 1 point in this current environment.
Yeah.
You on the other end, you getting nervous, strategizing, trying to figure out how you're going to win this game. 2 points, 3 points down.
The French did a study. The French did a study after they changed the group. So just to let you know, for who do not know, the game used to be up to 21 points. Someone has to win by 2. But the international body changed it to 11 points. Someone still got to win by 2. But just by the virtue of changing it from 21 to 11, all of a sudden, a weaker player was closer to the stronger player. just by virtue of changing the score, not even being on the table yet. So it just put a lot of pressure now on the stronger player to win.
Which chance of winning improved?
Oh yeah,
the five setters playing to 21 used to be real tough.
Yeah, but that's now it's tougher. It's tougher now because you don't get a chance. You don't get 5 serves.
Chance to come back.
Yeah, because if you had really good serves, you make 5 serves, you have 5 points ahead. You probably win all 5 serves.
Right.
Now you can only win 2, and you have to give up the ball to the other person to serve. So the game has really changed a lot.
What a life lesson. You learn to play the game, so you're always resilient ahead of time. So you don't have to wait for 5 serves. But you have to be at your best game of life all the time.
You got to be thinking, if you're the receiver, you got to be thinking, what are they going to serve me now? Are they going to serve long? Are they going to serve short? Are they going to serve fast, slow? So many things. You have to be actually, as a receiver of the serve, cheating a little bit ahead of time already. Absolutely thinking, what are they going to do? Serve me long? So, and you're going to make a guess sometimes and say, well, they served me short twice. So maybe now they're going to serve me long, all this sort of stuff. Yeah.
Right. So is there any tricks like in their body language you can read and say, well, the body's this way or the body's that way, so they're going, can you analyze?
Oh, yes, there's a lot of that goes, a lot of that into the tennis. Oh, there's a lot. You might just position yourself as a receiver a certain place, but as soon as they throw the ball, you shift back to the other position, all this sort of stuff. A lot of mind games in table tennis. It's a very, very neurological. People think it's just actually a game where it's a reflex sport, but no, it's actually a neurological sport. And so it's all taught out. Most of it is taught out.
I'm just learning this.
So, you're anticipating before something happens.
Mm-hmm. Proactive, being proactive. I love this very much. So before we're wrapping up, so I will, because Mr. Ken, it's not an honor that you were late, but because you didn't get much talking time, I'll give you a few seconds to say anything fantastic and fabulous about any of the idols here.
No, it's fascinating to meet folks. I haven't seen Gordon Copland in donkey years. And if I'd seen Garth George in the street, I wouldn't have recognized him. He's that I can't see Windell. I can't see Windell picture neither. But did you guys talk about the importance of table tennis in diplomacy? Remember Haslam and the whole China Nixon China event? So
George Braffett.
George Braffett, yeah.
Right. So I haven't played the game in Miami where I'm at. When I came to America, I started playing a bit. But in my business, you don't really meet. As I was telling Roland when he passed through Miami a couple of days ago, in the States, the game is not used as a business type of social connection game, you know? It's more like, So I had to learn to play lawn tennis and golf. But Roland could play more the golf because he's a very rich guy who needs to, you know? But no, I really enjoyed Gordon Briggs and myself. The Berians always had a kind of a B team. So once in a while, when I take a couple points from Garth, I would give a prayer to God and say, thank you, Lord. I would see a loop. I'm trying to block the ball. Biggies with his left-handed game. I play a loop shot. And when it goes on the board once in a while, Biggies would still find it and block it back. But no, it was a lot of joy. Gordon and myself and the Berian, we had a great time playing tennis. I mean, you're working during the course of the day, but it's a slow table tennis is always on your mind,
Always on your mind.
Always on your mind. But what I found fascinating though was so many people had to play, and you had 2 boards in CSA, and it seemed to always be a sort of an innate coordination where we all played games and had a good time, and they always had enough time to play a game. And so I thought it was a great time as a youth growing up. I played some cricket at the league level, but I was okay. But I really enjoyed tennis at a massive level. And when I went on to Barbados to study, I saw how tennis was being played at another level again that caused me to say, wow, this game is great. So I still look at the game, as I was telling Roland a couple of days ago on YouTube, look at the Chinese and the Japanese play, and I see the Germans have become bigger than the Swedes and so forth. But the game overall, allowed me to stay in shape and stay alert. And I'm not aging as gracefully as Garth and Roland and these other guys. Go ahead. And Collin and so forth. But it's a real enjoyment. I mean, that whole fraternity was a massively centrally important to my sense of a team. And one final thing I'll say, when folks in the States, my business partners, they hear me talk about GBSS so much, they almost think there's no college. They know what the secondary school is GBSS.
Technically, there isn't. But yeah.
Well, I love my college friends. But
you said you played with the Barians, so that meant you were in shape, and then you went to GBSS for sixth form or something?
No. I went off to Barbados to do my sixth form in Barbados Community College. Oh. Yeah, but Gordon Briggs and myself, we always, most of the teams always we were all lacking a third forceful person. So Briggs and myself was fairly good players. We have to pick the pastor or somebody else to be the third person. All the teams got team. GBSS had a good team with Copland, Biggies and Roland. So all the teams seem to have a good balance of three. But, it was a great joy. Fantastic time growing up in Grenada and playing tennis. And it's enormously wonderful to see you guys.
I agree.
All right. And we have to thank Ian for pulling all this together.
Yeah.
Mr. Denis Thomas didn't say very much.
At all. Yeah.
Mr. Thomas, come forward, sir. Well, it's your song.
I was listening to your commentaries. What I was thinking, the evolution of table tennis, in the sense of how it all started off and how you got to the Caribbean table tennis scene. Nobody seemed to recognize that anyway. How we got there and from whence.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you know the drift. And I quite agree, if you look back at our social problems, check the constituencies or the parishes without table tennis. They generally have some serious challenges. Take, for instance, the parish of St. David. Mm. Yes. St. David has some serious challenges there with, should I say, violence or people trying to get together. We have some issues in the parish of St. David, which checking it out because of the lack of togetherness, particularly in sports like table tennis. We have some challenges there. That should be a topic for another time anyway.
Yeah. You're originally from St. David's?
Partly. St. Andrews, St. David's, and St. George's.
But Dennis, could you tell us when Grenada first participated in Caribbean Championship? What year?
We first started off in 1972.
72.
And we were affiliated with the first country outside of the Big Four. Grenada was the first country to be affiliated to the Caribbean Table Tennis Federation. Mm. Then that was in 1970. And then shortly afterwards, we formed the Windward Islands Table Tennis Federation together with the Charles and Michael Finley from St. Vincent. And we had the first Windward Islands Table Tennis Tournament in Grenada. Mm. I believe it was in 1971. Anyway, we moved. We should all know where we came from, how we started. And Joe Hood from Barbados played a pivotal role in educating us, coaching us, and stuff like that. We had table tennis in Grenada. The housing was in Belmont Society Hall.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. That was where it started with Dennis Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we, afterward, when the CSA Center, the public servants building was constructed, probably in 1968, we had more facilities there open for the general public. But we have come a long way. Somebody was speaking about coaching. We used to volunteer ourselves and go throughout the country to coach table tennis in the parishes St. John, St. Patrick, and Grenville and Birch Grove.
Mm.
Yeah. We had Calais Mark's place in Grenville, where we used to, there was a boat there and the police station upstairs. So anyway, there's a lot of lack of interest.
That is something I was always curious about. What happened when you went to China for training? You went to China, did Grenada send you to China for training? How did that come about?
The Chinese, when we were in the first Chinese, in 1973, they had the first 3A tournaments, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. That was held in, and then we were able to secure 3 seats, 3 participation for 3 persons. And the Chinese paid for the flights and our board and lodge and everything like that. No.
So I want to ask Mr. Thomas a question. It wasn't like you went there to get training. You went there to a tournament, Asian, African, and Latin American tournament.
Yeah, the first 3 tournaments, and then we went on to Nigeria in Nigeria. Yeah. And then in 1977, we were supposed to have it in Mexico, but the Chinese would have achieved their objective already, so they canceled it.
Mm. Well,
so,
Mr. Thomas, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Thomas one question. If he knows a Guyanese player by the name of Mr. Bruce Edwards.
Bruce, of course he knows Bruce Edwards. Bruce Edwards was the Caribbean champion in 74 in Barbados.
Very well, because Bruce and I are sparring partners. We all live, Ian, Bruce and I all live within a mile of each other. I mean, like a minute drive, 2 minutes drive.
Actually, Collin and I live on the same street. A lot of people don't know that. We live on the same street, right? Right, Collin?
That is correct.
Okay, I like to hear this say that because all people don't know we live on the street. I don't see the guy at all, but I know we live on the same street.
But that's
hold on. I thought Collin lived on Church Street. You live on Grenville Street?
No, he's talking about now. I was on Church Street.
Oh, God. No, you're talking about right now?
Right now. Yeah, we live in Scarborough, and we live on the street. But in the big city.
You're a Scarbarian.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
Sometimes he passes by my house, and I see my car, you do a little wave, I do this on, and I'm looking around. I don't know who's stupid. I might wave back, but I don't know what's Collin.
But look at this. You and Collin, Roland, and Ken. What's going on?
No.
And I know that's also in Florida.
Yeah, Biggies and I live close together in Maryland, and Windell is in Maryland. I saw Ken. We reconnected a couple of days ago in Miami. I was on the way.
Amanda, you're all by yourself. Any tennis girlfriends around?
Unfortunately, no. Yes, I've been playing tennis. I've been playing tennis with the guys for a long time. We have very few ladies that play.
Yeah. Always been the case.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the guys are accommodating strong women.
Look and beg. They're good. They like to.
Yeah. Amanda, thanks for representing the female table tennis players of Grenada. Marva wasn't able to come on, but you represented. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, man.
Thank you. Pleasure being here. My pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Welcome.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up now. Thank you for being here to share your memories with us again and to give us all those wonderful stories. If Ray Roberts was here, we probably could have get a commentary, but maybe next time. We'll try to do it again because in terms of documenting, I agree with everybody. We need to document these things. And I'm glad Mr. Denis Thomas is here and we can start taking notes. And come in, future shows, we're going to be able to do a better job. Today, I want to thank Ian.
It was wonderful.
Putting the panel together.
Yes,
and Sharian for helping me here. I wish we had more time. And I know a lot of Grenadians are going to be disappointed they didn't hear enough from you all. So we'll try and do it again. But as for today, thank you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, fellas, Roland.
All right, fellas.
Peace
All
out.
right. Go.
Part 2 coming shortly.
All right.
See you guys. All right.
Yes, all the guys.
Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
All right, Ian.